Hey everybody, thanks for taking a few minutes to watch this video. God bless you. Obviously yesterday was Father's Day, and so we got to talk to the dads, to the fathers. We talked about being a godly father and what does the Bible say specifically about that, about what we're to do, how we're to live as godly fathers. We hit 7 things that that are in the Word that we can point to, and of course there's more than that, but wanted to highlight those things yesterday and talk specifically, real practical things about what are the habits, what are what's the lifestyle of a godly father, because that's what we're called to be, guys, and also women. You're created in the image of God too. There's different roles, of course, in the home, but we're all created to be in the image of God and to represent Him, to shine on this earth. And especially in our homes, first of all in our homes. So guys specifically, fathers, we are called to be that example. One thing that I hit specifically yesterday was discipline. Discipline is very important. I wanted to expound on that just a little bit today. We talked about spanking, giving swats to our kids and using that as a form of discipline, which is biblical. We talked about that yesterday. It's a good thing. I'll give you one more verse on that. Proverbs 22:15 says this: "Foolishness is bound up in the heart of a child. The rod of correction will drive it far from him." The rod of correction, that's the stick of correction. Which would be we would call spanking. It will drive it far from him. It will drive foolishness from the heart of your child, which is important. It's very important. But I want to talk a little bit more about what that can look like and the way we should do it, because oftentimes I see discipline being handled the wrong way and coming out the wrong way, and I don't think we do it on purpose. We just don't realize what we're doing sometimes. A lot of times we get angry, right? Because our kid messes up, our kid does something wrong, and our first response is to get angry. And that we have to understand that if we ever discipline out of anger, it's not going to carry the grace and the love that it needs to. It's actually coming from a wrong place. Even though we're trying to do a good thing, we're trying to help teach and train our kids. If we do it the wrong way, it can, it won't carry the grace and the love that it needs to, which is what really gives it the power that it can have, the power behind it, the heart of God, the heart of the Father. Okay. This verse, Proverbs 22, same chapter, verse 8 says, "He who sows iniquity will reap sorrow, and the rod of his anger will fail." So anytime we do something in anger, the rod of our anger will fail. So when we try to correct and discipline in that way, but we do it out of anger, this is not just swats. This is any sort of correction that if we do it out of anger, it's going to fail. Because we're doing it with the wrong heart. We're doing it with the wrong motive. And that's where we have to check our motives. Anytime we deal with our kids are a gift from God, okay? We're actually stewarding them. They're actually not our kids ultimately. They're God's kids. And we get to steward them. We need to see it that way. We're just stewards of their lives, and one day they're going to lead their own lives, and they need to have their own relationship with God. So we're just taking care of them for a few years and teaching them and training them, and we definitely discipline them, but we do it with the right heart. A lot of times I see people yelling at their kids. They get frustrated, they yell at them. That's not good. They grab them. That's really not good. Anytime you grab your kids and pull them, yank them, anything like that, it's not good. We need to. God's not like that. Okay, God corrects us with a heart of love, with a heart of mercy, with a heart of grace. Now He's truth, right? I'm not saying don't be strong, don't be stern. if you need to be stern. But you do it out of a heart of love and compassion and mercy, and that I get to train and teach my kids. I'm not doing it because I'm angry. If you're angry, you need to, before you discipline, you need to stop. You need to go somewhere, get alone with God, take a walk, whatever. If you're angry, don't discipline out of anger. Calm down first, okay? Get into love. Get out of yourself and into love. And Colossians tells us, Colossians 3 tells us we're to put off anger. Put off anger. Put off wrath. Okay? That's also, that's what we're talking about. Anger towards our kids. Anger towards your spouse. Same thing. Put it off. There's a godly anger that we have at sin, that we have at things that are wrongs. Okay? So I can be angry at the thing that's hurting my kid, at the thing that may be hurting that person. I can be angry at sin. I'm definitely angry at the devil, and we never need to lose that anger. We need to be angry at the devil, angry at sin, angry at things that steal, kill, and destroy, angry at lies that steal truth from people, oppression, all that stuff. Anything that's from the enemy, we're angry at those things, but we're never angry at the people. And that's what we have to understand. We're never angry at the people. My kid that did that thing wrong, and I'm angry at the sin, but I'm not angry at my kid. I love my kid. And so we put off that anger. That anger we're supposed to put off. We're to put off all that because that's part of the old man. We are renewed in knowledge according to him, the new man. We are a new person. We're to put off those things. Okay? So when you correct your kids, you don't do it in anger. And when they have that example of dad gets angry all the time or mom gets angry all the time, she just gets mad, she just gets upset, you're giving them, you're working against yourself. On the one hand, you're wanting to teach them to do the right thing, to live the right way, to not get mad at their siblings, to not burst out in anger or to not do that wrong thing. But yet at the same time, you're showing them that by your actions. You're giving them conflicted examples. You're telling them one thing, but you're showing them another thing by how you're behaving, by what you do. And that's actually confusing to our kids. And it can be a bad example to them. It is a bad example to them. Jesus said about the Pharisees, he said, do what they say, because they sit in the seat of Moses. They knew the Bible, they knew the law, and a lot of what they said was good because it was the scripture. He said, do what they say, but don't do what they do, because they don't do what they say. They say one thing and do another thing. And man, what an awful thing for us to be to our kids, that we say one thing but act a different way. The worst thing that you can do for your kids is to come to church, to say we love the Lord, to do things in His name, that we say we follow Him, we say we're Christians, and then at home you don't show that, you don't reveal that, you don't live that. That's called hypocrisy. The worst thing you can do is bring your kids to church every week and then live a different way at home. You get in a fight with your spouse on the way to church or on the way home from church, and you start arguing about where we're going to eat or what. You're totally defeating the purpose of even bringing them to church. When we do that, we're teaching our kids that Christianity is going to church. Christianity is paying our tithes. Christianity is just checking these boxes. No. Christianity is Christ-likeness, living like Christ. Okay? So if we just, go to church, but then we, get mad at our kids and get angry with them and yell at them and yank them and yell at our spouse, and all they see is this conflicting information, we're giving them, we're conflicting information. We're saying that one thing with our mouth, and yet we're living another way. Okay, that's called hypocrisy. That's hypocritical, and that will harm your kids. And unfortunately that's one of the biggest reasons that a lot of kids leave church when they get old enough, because they say, you know what, I saw something different at home than what we preach from the pulpit. And what I'm hearing at church, I didn't see it at my house. God forbid. We're supposed to be an example. That's the dads especially. Dads, we have the main responsibility here in our homes to be an example of Christ. And it doesn't mean you're going to get it perfect. You're not going to mess up every now and then. But if you mess up, this is important too. If you mess up, you apologize. You confess that, and you tell your kids that, like, some of the best words you can tell your kids is "I'm sorry." And your spouse, "I'm sorry, I blew that. I messed that up. That was not a good representation of Jesus. I did not represent him good in that moment. So please forgive me. I'm sorry." And you be that example of when you mess up. If you mess up, you own it and you say, "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. Will you forgive me?" I've had to do that for my kids several times. And it just shows that, hey, we're growing. But my goal is Jesus. My goal is to be a representation of him. And even if I fall short, he's going to forgive me. I ask you to forgive me. And that gives them an example of when they fall short. We ask God to forgive us, and we keep going. We get back up and we keep going. So we need to be an examples to our kids, to our spouses in our homes. Be an example of Jesus. That's why we're here, to shine. And like we talked about yesterday, we can't do that unless you know the Father. You can't shine him. You can't be like him. You can't represent him unless you know him. So the most important thing we can do for our families, for our kids, the most important thing we can do is know the Father, to get along with him, to grow in that relationship with him. If we owe them anything, it's to be alone with him and to get closer to him. Why? So we can represent him better. We can become more like him, and they can see a greater example of what it looks like to follow Jesus, of what Jesus is like. Okay. God wants to use you to be that example, but we have to know him. So get along with him this week. We're gonna talk about that tonight, actually, at the Bible study. We're gonna talk about what that looks like. So if you're listening to this and it's still Monday, if you're listening to this, come tonight at 6:30. If you can, we're going to talk about what it looks like to get along with him and in that personal, intimate time to grow that relationship. So God bless you guys. You have God with you. He's with you to help you, to support you, to empower you. So he loves you. He'll never leave you. He's with you right now. He's with you the rest of this week. Okay. So spend some time with him, talk to him, and give your heart to him. Just keep surrendering daily. Surrender to him. I want to follow you. I want to be like you. Thank you for working in me. Thank you for helping me. And when we submit to him in that way, he goes to work in our lives. So, all right. Love you guys. Have a wonderful week, and God bless you. We'll see you soon.